at 10 a.m. Our celebration continues with the Freedom Concert, One Empire event, with guest artists Muta Baruka and much more. August 1st, V4 at 2 p.m. Emancipation Art will come alive with a breathtaking reveal of the Emancipation Murals, Wednesday, August 16th on Jabati Street, Castries at 10 a.m. We climax with La Boise Festival Guafet on the streets of Grosley on Wednesday, August 30th from 10:30 a.m. For the full calendar of activities, go to CDF Facebook and Instagram pages.
You're watching Choice TV.
Good night, St. Lucia, and welcome to another episode of Police Insight. I am your host, Sergeant Zachary Hippolyte of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. I'd like to say good night to our Commissioner of Police Acting, Mr. Ronald Phillip, our deputies, Mr. Wayne Shalry, Dr. Mashama Seeley Acting, our Assistant Commissioners of Police, Gazette officers, inspectors, sergeants, corporals, constables, both senior and junior, special police constables, special reserve officers, former police officers, good night to you. City police, good night to you. Our brothers and sisters in law enforcement, Bordelais Correctional Facility, fire service, port police, customs, good night to you. Security officers, I'd like to say good night to you. All those who want well for St. Lucia, those listening, we're on Choice Television, we're live telephone to telephone. We're also streaming live on the Choice Media Network. Yes, folks. So, without further ado, I have a guest which I shall be introducing a little later, but we have some things that we need to get through first. By now, most of you may have heard, and if not, you would be hearing for the first time that the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is currently mourning the death of one of its own, Constable 155 Valencius Edgar. And the organization put out a bit of a press release, if you want to believe, or announcement, which I'm going to read right now. It is with a heavy heart and a great sense of loss, the Office of the Commissioner of Police, the Executive, and other members of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force wish to extend condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of Constable 155 Valencius Edgar, who was attached to the Choiseul Police Station at the time of his passing on Wednesday, July 26, 2023. Constable 155 Edgar was a 28-year veteran of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. He enlisted on the 10th day of July, 1995. During his tenure, he worked at various divisions, including the Criminal Investigations Department and Special Services Unit. He was also an officer of the St. Lucia Cadet Corps, where he imparted a wealth of knowledge and positive attributes to young men and women. A call is made to all officers to be each other's keepers and lend a shoulder of strength to those who need it most now. The journey ahead may seem blurred at this point, but together we may press on. To his family, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force extends our deepest sympathy. Though words may not console you at this time, our support, we hope, may bring you comfort in your time of grief. May all his memories guide your path to healing. Okay, folks. And I could tell you, I trained with Constable Edgar. He was part of Course 18 at this point in time, which I would like to give a shout out to all the members of Course 18 who graduated from the Police Training Academy 28 years ago. It's nice to see, although it should not be, but most times death have a way of bringing people together, okay? So it's nice to see that most of his course colleagues have reached out to each other, and I have no doubt that we will definitely show up and pay our respects in whatever way we can when this fallen soldier is laid to rest. So once again, to the very close friends and the families, relatives, the children, his children, do wish you the best of strength and understanding. Because folks, I could tell you, I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, have been impacted in some way or the other by death, by family, whether, you know, I've lost both parents, you listening probably have lost both, whether it be a parent or close friend, whether it be through natural means, what a doctor would determine natural means, or whether it may be through some form of mishap, accident, or violence. Death is never an easy thing to understand, no matter how much, how many, how would I say that, experiences we've had, that we know it's a part of life. We are born, so we must die. Generations have passed. There are human beings we've never met, but they were once alive. So the same will happen to us. But despite that, for some reason, our consciousness cannot get to terms with, you know, to understand that somebody that you knew before, or should I say, you spent time with, the bonds that were created whilst alive on earth, to see that those special moments and those times and new memories can never be made with that individual, because this individual has now departed. It is just something we could never, ever accept. However, we still learn. Some of us, or most of us, learn to deal with it. Some of us, we never deal with it. We move on because life must continue. Because there are other human beings who are alive who are depending on us. So we cannot stay in a state of depression or mourning for too long, because we must move on with our lives. But this is something we will never want to understand and accept. So my brother Edgar, rest in peace, bro. And we all will be there someday. Some other shout outs. Let's see. I'd like to shout out the Community Relations Branch of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, CRB North, who is currently preparing for their annual youth camp commencing on August 6th and ending on August 20th in Choiseul. Annual youth camp for at-risk youth. The camp is actually called Camp Toys, TOYS, Teaching Our Youth Survival. And I know that the department is coming to crunch time now. You know, the time is almost there, so a lot is being done. So shout out to you guys. I'd also like to give a special shout out to the Anglican Church Women's Association. The Anglican Church Women's Association, especially that of Mrs. Brathwaite, who I recently met. That was yesterday, I believe, yes. The Anglican Church Women's Association currently has a youth camp going on. Also the St. Lucia Cadet Corps. There are lots of organizations around this time trying their best to assist the youth, you know, to stay on the right path. There is so much going on. There's so much misinformation going on. There's so much different factors, social media, music, etc., videos that can influence our youth in a negative way. So I would like to say big up to all the organizations and entities out there. There was this camp also currently at the Sports Academy in Beauséjour. My department, we also went and do a lecture there. So big up to all you guys who's trying your best to keep our youth grounded. Let us now do our Know Your Laws for tonight. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, those of you in the chat, thank you for tuning in. Casey Charles, Valerie Ernest, saying condolences to you on the passing of your colleague, Officer Zachary. And and Big Up Vibes Entertainment and Sound Company, saying condolences to the family. Yes. So let's do our Nathan Timmet's Know Your Laws. Collins, let's do that now. And then after that, we'll take a break and then we'll introduce our guest. All right. So then our Know Your Laws is coming from the Criminal Code, Section 593 of the Criminal Code, entitled Circumstances in Which Bail May Be Denied. Okay, and let me just read this. And it says, where a defendant is accused or convicted of an offense that is punishable with death or imprisonment, the court may refuse an application for bail. And here are the reasons, folks. A, if the court is satisfied that there are grounds for believing that the defendant, if released on bail, whether subject to conditions or not, would 1, fail to surrender to custody, 2, commit an offense, 3, interfere with witnesses. Okay? And subsection B says, the court is satisfied that the defendant should be kept in custody for any reason, including for his own protection. So we have switched to a different dimension here, and reasons why the person might be kept in without giving bail, for his own protection, goes on to say for the protection of the community, or 3, if he or she is a child, a young person, for his or her own welfare. Goes on there to say, subsection C now, the defendant is in custody in pursuance of the sentence of a court. Okay. D, the court is satisfied that it has not been practicable to obtain sufficient information for the purpose of taking the decisions required by this section for want of time, since the institution of the proceedings against the defendant. So the court is not satisfied, doesn't have enough information as to why they should allow this individual to get bail. E, having been released on bail in or in connection with the proceedings for the offense, the defendant has been arrested pursuant to Section 606. F, the defendant's case is adjourned for inquiries or report, and it appears to the court that it would be impracticable to complete the inquiries or make the report without keeping the defendant in custody. G, the defendant is charged with an offense alleged to have been committed while he or she was released on bail. So the individual is on bail and they have committed another offense, then there's a possibility they might not receive bail again. And H, the defendant has been convicted of a similar offense previously. So you're on bail for, who knows, burglary. You're now before the court for another offense of burglary or something very similar, like stealing from a person or dwelling house or something like that. So there are lots of reasons why the court may, remember it says may, consider an individual to not receive their bail. So this has been Nathan Timmet's Know Your Laws for tonight's episode. We are now going to take our very first and quick break. And when we come back, my guest for tonight. Stay tuned.
No, this is fast. family and friends feeling good joy and happiness when you take a sip of this Peter Malta. Oh,
give me a sip of that Peter Malta. Nourishment in a bottle, the flavor of happiness is a Peter Malta.
I mean say Peter Malta, oh, drink it nice and cold, your refreshment, oh, give me that Peter Malta.
Trusted as a rich blend of nourishment, vitamin B, and wholesome goodness, Peter Malta.
It's been a long time. Labors of others are the way.
Miku North, we are coming to you. The SLP invites you to a celebration of progress as we begin year 3 of policies that will improve the lives of the people. The celebration begins at 3 p.m. at the Passiers Playing Field in Miku North. Come hear from your MPs and our political leader on what your government has in store for you, along with a solid mix of entertainment. All roads lead to Miku North on Sunday, July 30th from 3 p.m. The St. Lucia Labour Party, always putting you first.
Raise it up high and thank the Most High.
In 2023, St. Lucia continues to enkindle consciousness through emancipation celebrations. Tuesday, August 1st at 5 a.m. Join the drums and dance ritual at the Castries Waterfront and the Emancipation Lecture, Emancipation Day and the Reparations Tradition on NTN and all media platforms at 10 a.m. Our celebration continues with the Freedom Concert, One Empire event, with guest artist Muta Baruka and much more. August 1st, V4 at 2 p.m. Emancipation Art will come alive with a breathtaking reveal of the Emancipation Murals, Wednesday, August 16th on Jabati Street, Castries at 10 a.m. We climax with La Boise Festival Guafet on the streets of Grosley on Wednesday, August 30th from 10:30 a.m. For the full calendar of activities, go to CDF Facebook and Instagram pages.
Okay, welcome back to Police Insight. I'd like to say good night to Angela Hippolyte. Logged in. Erwin Miao Butcher. Ozibia. Let me tell you something. I'll tell me how to pronounce that. Is it Ozibia Tama Adle? And and Diane Silly. Thank you guys for having us. Good night to you. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my guest for this evening. Not a stranger to Police Insight, and we're happy to have him again. But folks, join me in welcoming the commander, the Marine commander, the commander of the Marine unit, Superintendent Frederick. Good night to you, sir.
Good night. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, how are you doing, sir?
Always. I'm good.
So you're looking tired?
No.
Because just with folks, he's been busy, yeah?
We have a way of, and good night, St. Lucia, good night to all those viewing out there. We have a way of rejuvenating
yes.
even while we're working, and that's what it's all about.
Excellent.
Yes.
I know he's been very busy. And we're here to discuss why the Marine commander, especially this week, has been very busy. So, sir, currently the Marine unit is celebrating a special occasion. Could you inform our listeners what that occasion is?
We've been excited. Every year we look forward to the last week in July because we celebrate what we call the Tiller Day activity.
Tiller Day.
Activity. In 1996, prior to that, the leadership of the Marine unit were foreign individuals, what you call a loan service personnel from the UK, the Navy. And then in 1996, the local leadership was handed over to Mr. Andre Cox, which was the first local Marine unit commander.
And what year was that, sir?
In 1996.
1996, okay.
And I'm not thinking that you were a baby back then. You were probably...
yeah, I was at least 1 year in service. 1 year. 1 year service to the police force.
So we take pride. We take pride in carrying on that mantle simply because many organizations within St. Lucia and the world, the leadership sometimes is you have to outsource. And what we've done over the years, we've had a change and a smooth transition from leadership to leadership. And then we take pride in it. If you are St. Lucian, the same way you feel for Independence and National Day, this is what we feel this time every July. So my responsibility from 2021 has been to carry on that mantle until I retire. Well, I will not tell you when yet. But
look like you still go a couple of 10 years, you know, sir.
But I don't know that much. I'll have to ask my mom my age.
Oh,
Maybe.
okay.
Yes, but we take pride in that, and then we push, we work hard, because at the end of the day, we are responsible. And I say we. Yes, I'm the commander of the base, and I give leadership to the men and women of the Marine Unit, but we take pride in handling the maritime national security of this country. And it is a huge responsibility on the shoulder. And just last week, a colleague of ours, you probably would know, and he said, when they gave you the crown, you probably thought it was a joke. Only when the crown reached on my shoulder, I recognized that the responsibility is huge. Because there is no night or day for us. We work around the clock every single day, irrespective of the weather conditions. So this year we're celebrating 27 years, if you do the maths, and we will be continuing with our main event, which is tomorrow, God's willing. On Sunday, we had a church service at Babono. On Monday, we went to the homes. We donated some items to one of the senior citizens' home. On Tuesday, we had an open day, which we had some schools, some young children came in, we showed them what we did, also some members of the Cadet Corps and some civilians, individuals. And following which we had a sunset cruise, which was awesome.
Nice. How did I miss that?
I have no idea. And today we are doing the final prep, and hopefully tomorrow at 10 a.m., we will have the official ceremony where we will go through details with invited guests and, of course, the members of the Marine Unit, the media, and so on. So we continue to celebrate, and we hoping that you will come over to enjoy with us.
Okay, excellent, sir. You know, sometimes, sir, comparisons are made between units, etc. Some believe that those that are on the ground, on the land, would be facing like challenges or tougher challenges compared to those on the seas. Can you speak to I wouldn't really say challenges, but how tough it could be out there on the waters in terms of crime prevention or even pursuing offenders, etc.?
It is always a challenge to be out there. And that is why you have a specific group of individuals. So we breed them from very small into the unit, what we call a pipsqueak. You come in, you know nothing, and we will treat you accordingly, in a positive way that is, to teach you the steps in which you grow. Some persons don't know it, but then maybe our supervisors, our leaders, the Prime Minister, persons of that sort, we are part of the regional security system. And in 2021, I think thereabout, when the La Soufre volcano went up in St. Vincent, while the volcano was erupting, we were moving in and out of St. Vincent on humanitarian missions. So when everybody was seeking shelter, we were in and out of St. Vincent. We conducted 10 successful missions, take persons from NEMO and RSS and you name it, all over the world, as long as they were able to, you know, and it was just a learning experience for us. Hurricane Maria, the day after, we were in Dominica. Humanitarian supplies, SSU, you name it. So we had 10 trips in St. Vincent, 10 humanitarian sorties in St. Vincent. We had 8 for Hurricane Maria in Dominica, which devastated the place. And you have the natural law enforcement day-to-day activity. You have the preservation of our fisheries industry. A lot of persons, sometimes you just see the Marine Unit boat just lingering out there. We work on sometimes on intelligence, sometimes we work on what you call just the normal day-to-day patrol. So we are able to protect our territorial waters. There will always be some ins and out when one or two things go outside of that. You will get that worldwide. We don't have a net that's okay, nobody leaves, nobody comes out.
Right.
But we do
Covering the
as
island.
much as we possibly can under the prevailing circumstances.
Okay, excellent. Can you speak a little, just before you take our second break, on, can you say anything on training, sir?
Training? Wow. Okay, training for us from 2013 to 2021 was a bit difficult. You had the lay law infractions, and we were not able to receive training from the U.S. government. And training and financial assistance, everything was withdrawn. Fortunate for me, or unfortunate, whichever you may want to call it. And thanks again, always a million to the government of St. Lucia and Commissioner Daisy. I had the responsibility of discussing a lot of things with him and the U.S. government.
Nice.
In terms of getting things back to where it was supposed to be.
Excellent.
So we spent a lot of time with the U.S. Embassy in mid-2021, going into the last quarter, of 2021. And I am pleased to inform you that from January 2022, we've been receiving technical assistance and training from the U.S.
That's
government.
awesome. That's great.
Yes, so as we speak, we have 5 officers at Tradewinds. We have 2 officers. We just recently came from Barbados. We have 2 officers. In fact, 1 officer did the Chief Petty Officer Academy. And we've had a number of persons that have received the training, and we will continue to do so as long as we remain within the confines of the understanding between the U.S. government and us. But then again, you have to be grateful to Commissioner Daisy. I say commissioner, because to me, once you reach the rank of commissioner, until you...
The Almighty takes us.
Right, you commissioner. That's my thinking. And the government of St. Lucia. So it was a very delicate process, and it still continues to be a walk straight process, and that we ensure that we keep, because we need that kind of training, we need that kind of assistance. So presently the carpet is rolled out and we just have to walk.
At this point, and just piggybacking on what the superintendent said, I would like to say a shout out to our police officers. I believe there were at least 18 of them. And like the super said, at least 5 of them came from the Marines who participated in this year's Tradewinds exercise, which took place in Guyana between July 13 to today, actually July 27. So I believe they're back today, or we should be getting them back soon. And from my understanding, 21 countries participated, over 1,500 military and Marine officers. Okay, and our acting commissioner of police, he went there, to I guess see our participants and how things are going. And also like to send a shout out to ACP Lamontagne, the officer in charge of the Special Services Unit, who has been at the training from day 1. So good job, guys. I know you made St. Lucia very, very proud. We are going to take our second break. When we come back, we'll open up the lines and we'll also continue the conversation, especially that of being safe at sea. Stay tuned.
You may not know it, but telecommunications is a significant part of your everyday life. It involves a range of telecommunications issues, licenses, regulations, legislation, and expertise. Telecommunications impacts directly on the national economy. Something as simple as handheld radios used in various applications need frequency authorization. And even wireless microphones use frequencies that have to be managed. The cell phone number that you use was authorized by the NTRC through a numbering plan. So a set of numbers are assigned to each service provider and to each island. This is where the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, NTRC, comes in. The NTRC forms part of the regulatory machinery in which ECTEL, the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, provides policy direction and acts in the capacity of a technical repository. The NTRC is appointed by the Minister of Telecommunications. There is so much more the NTRC is involved with. Feel free to visit our website or to call our office for additional information. Telecommunications is an integral part of our lives, and the NTRC is the entity that protects your interest. The National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, ensuring standards in an evolving technological world.
It's an opportunity for sure to reimagine your future. TVET, build your knowledge and develop skills that will help you pay your bills. Give yourself an education, a TVET certification. Become an entrepreneur or build a top career. TVET is for everybody to live their passion fully, to make more money, to take care of their family. TVET.
Technical and vocational education and training is an educational path for everyone. Build your knowledge and skills today to reimagine your future.
This message is brought to you by the St. Lucia Human Capital Resilience Project, funded by World Bank and implemented by the Ministry of Education, Sustainable Development, Innovation, Science, Technology,
And vocational training.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Yeah, your host there is Sergeant Zachary Hippolyte. In studio with me is Superintendent Frederick, our Marine Unit Commander. And we're just taking some quick comments there. Someone is saying, what about a new boat in honor? I'm not sure of Officer Timet. Officer Timet, a new boat commander. Someone says if you could get a new boat. Someone also says, all about this partnership. Thank you so much. And another comment here. Good evening to all, also Officer Zachary. My condolences to you all the RSLPF Army, and to Constable Edgar's families. My deepest sympathy, from us St. Lucians. We say thank you for your great work and whatever you have contributed whilst protecting the citizens of this country. Thank you, Snake Boy Phil. Rest in peace, sir. So yes, sir. What about, what's the status of our fleet, marine fleet? Someone says we should have a new boat and name it after Timet.
A new boat is in the making.
Yeah, okay.
Another
Timet
boat.
Defender.
Right.
Yeah.
Defender, she served us very well
Yes.
for 36 years. But every good thing have to come to an end.
I
And
see.
she's now resting. We hope the government would approve and have her turned into a museum.
I was just,
And
that's a great
so we're
idea.
working towards that. The conversation is ripe towards that, and
Excellent.
I honestly believe the government probably would. The replacement for Defender is in the making, the paperwork and all the discussion with the U.S. government and also the government of St. Lucia at different levels. However, the name of the vessel, that is
Yes.
that is way beyond
powers that be.
what I can. But generally, there would be discussions about the name of the vessel and why the name of the vessel. So let's see.
Since we're on vessels, some time ago, so there was some public concern from some of our citizens stating that they were seeing a police vessel or vessels doing what appears to be some speedy maneuvering in the sea, and some people were wondering if that was just some horsing around or what appeared to be waste of fuel, etc. So I don't know, sir, if you can comment on that.
Absolutely, and I'm happy that you ask.
Yes.
These vessels, when our engineers, because we have our engineers, our technicians, everybody, they're in-house, because our department is self-contained. We sustain everything, the electricals, the engineers, you name it. Every time the engineers do engine repairs on those boats, what you would have seen in port castries, we would have to put the boat through that measure of testing to ensure that it can stand the capacity, the capability of the work that is required of it.
Oh, I see.
Fortunately for many of our citizens, we were granted permission by SLASPA because it was SLASPA, I think, 40th anniversary on that day. So instead of doing those maneuvers, testing those two vessels out there, we did it inside the harbor. So
okay.
in order to basically those persons who may have seen it consider it a gift because we don't normally do it within the harbor.
I see.
And as they would have noted that there were no vessels within the harbor operating at the time. SLASPA would have cleared everything and allow us to do everything. So those vessels are supposed to move at the top speed and spin on a dime in the event. And you're not just looking at interception, you're looking at somebody falling overboard, you're looking at many other factors that we cannot go into.
Yes.
And that the operators, because they have been trained so to do, they have to perform that, because I have to be satisfied that as the commander, if you are given vessel A or B, you are supposed to operate that vessel as required. So those persons that were operating those vessels that day are fully trained, qualified, and certified to do that. But generally, we would do it outside. We would do it on the East Coast. We would do it other places that you don't get to see. But these are testing methods to ensure that the vessels can give what they are required to do. Yes.
Okay, folks, so it's not just wasting fuel. It's very important. We have a picture of the commander's tiller, folks. I hope you could see it properly on the screen. Let's see if we can put that there. So this is the commander's tiller, folks, and on it, on this amazing object, if you want to call it that, it has all the names of the past local commanders. So from 1994 to 2000, you would see Superintendent Andre Cox. Then we go to 2000 to 2013, Superintendent Mittel. And then 2013 to 2015, former Commissioner, Superintendent Daisy. 2015 to 2017, Superintendent Preville. 2017 to 2021, Assistant ASP, Assistant Superintendent Leos, and we come right to my guest from 2021, Superintendent Frederick. Folks, we can open the lines there. Collins, if anyone wants to call in whilst we continue the interview, the lines are open. You have any questions to ask for my guest or myself, it is 728-6397, 728-6397. Once again, 728-6397. Or you could even WhatsApp me on the WhatsApp texting platform, 730-8024. I repeat, 730-8024. Could also come in on the live chat and give your comments or your questions. So we've heard this topic of climate change. Now, some people believe it really has nothing to do with us in the Caribbean. Some even believe it's a hoax. Some believe it's come on, the world has been there for eons. It's nothing to affect us. What is your is that a concern for the Marine Unit?
Definitely it is. Climate change has a serious impact on our strategic defense policies and the way we operate. Fortunate, I attended the National Defense University in Washington, D.C., and I saw things that I did not understand until the mighty United States of America, their Naval College was built over 100 years ago. And the area it was built in, Minneapolis, was built not taking into consideration climate change. To date, when the tide rises, the vehicles literally drive in salt water. Now, if you're taking it home, let us be serious now. Climate change is real. I'm not a scientist. I'm a police officer by profession. If you go down the line, I am a navigator, an instructor, and of course, I teach people how to drive boat. This is my profession, right? But on a heavy day in Port Castries, not a rainy day, not a rainy day, you have surge and you have high tide. Look at the area near the market. The water begin to come up. And soon from now, you will have the waters, persons coming from the arcade going across the government buildings. There is a strong possibility within the next 2 to 5 years, we might have to do some extra pumping.
I see.
Retaining of the wall. So climate change is real, and when you're looking at many other factors, we would now have to look at how we build things near the ocean, how resilient it is to the ocean. For us as the unit, the number of search and rescue cases keep going up, simply because of one issue, the sargassum seaweed.
Interesting.
5-6 years ago, a little beyond that, we did not have that problem. The sargassum seaweed now affects the fishers who goes out, the vessel breakdown. We still have to try as much as practicable to go for them. It does have an implication on the Ministry of Finance because our vessels from time to time suffer a little casualty. And the Ministry of Finance, the government of St. Lucia, have to fix that vessel as quickly as possible, whatever part that is required in order to save lives, a few lives. So climate change is real. If you notice last week, Castries was flooding. And a friend of mine, I called him, I said, look, I might not be able to come down the road, do something for me. And he said, I'm sitting outside in Viewport. Viewport is dry, Castries is wet. And you have it vice versa. So looking at climate change and the implication on strategic defense, we now have to look at the fragile tourism industry. What happens if it rains excessively in Soufrière and you have a half of a cruise ship visiting in Soufrière? So
I see.
there are lots of things we have to consider, and fortunate for us, this week we've had 2 high-level meetings addressing some of those issues where climate change is concerned.
I see. Okay. So just changing the topic a little bit, we recently had Carnival, and we know Carnival had a lot to do with also the sea, boat rides, etc. Can you give us a little status update on how things went in terms of, well, we know about the land, but what about the sea? Those things okay on the sea?
So I work Carnival Monday and Tuesday.
Yes.
On the land. So
okay.
I had the land. Yes, that's why I laugh. I had
okay.
a mix of both.
Okay.
So for persons who were that Shabbat Street, I think it was, that back corridor, that was my area of supervision. And it's tough. But maritime-wise, we control the maritime domain. We have made it our policy from 2021 into 2022. Last year, 2022, we had an incident-free Carnival, maritime-wise. This year, the same remain because we will not waver. This is what it is. If you have a boat ride, if you want to conduct a boat ride, we need your security plan. We need to know what you're doing out there.
I see.
The conduct of the vessels must be in line with the rules of the road, the international laws of the sea. And as long as we enforce those laws, and persons comply, you have a successful carnival, a successful jazz, or other maritime-related activities, because this is what we want. So we went on a public education drive in 2021, and we said this is what it's going to be.
So I remember that it was a very stern message.
Right. This is you. If you want, let's be real.
Yeah.
You are using the state asset to protect persons, and then the state require you to follow a certain pattern. So if you want a boat ride, this is how you operate, or no boat ride. Simple. It doesn't matter whether you reach Anshasne and somebody begin to misbehave, the entire boat will come back, because a boat ride means persons who want to have some fun, persons who want, and you have different types of boat ride.
But so someone say just deal with the person that's misbehaving?
Because the life and the life and safety of persons are in jeopardy. Sure. So you cannot allow 1 or 2 individuals to spoil the show. The show will end and everybody will go back to Port Castries. If it happens in Soufrière, maybe there may be discretion on our part to extract the person or 2.
Yeah.
They will find their way to Castries. But we will not allow somebody to spoil a show.
We have a call, sir. All right, let's take that call. Good night, caller.
Hello, yes, I'm calling from the United Kingdom.
You can answer. Okay, thank you so much for calling. Thank you so much.
Listen, man.
Yeah.
When are you guys going to start behaving like real policemen. Talk about solving crimes and not about celebrations and all this rubbish. There's enough murders in the country, man. You know, I mean, really, you guys are taking this for a joke. You're like Mickey Mouse.
So
You're acting like
you
Mickey
believe
Mouse police.
you believe we don't speak? You watch the show all the time, sir?
No, you're not. You're not. I'm a solution. And, you know, I'm very upset at you guys taking this show as though it's something to show who you are. Look, act as a policeman, man. You know, talk about solving crimes. Talk about the murder that happened recently. Ask for information. You know, try and solve crimes. Stop taking this for some Mickey Mouse show. It's ridiculous. You know, I mean, if people are sensible enough to speak their minds, they would really tell you you're jokers. People want crime solved, not to come there and say, let's have a cup of tea. You know, talk about the last murder.
Okay.
How can we get information? Is there anybody who could help us to solve the crime? Every damn week there's a murder. And, you know, it's horrible because I want to bring my children back to my country. It's such a disgusting place, man. You guys are jokers. Well, you know, in my time in St. Lucia, you know, I mean, the people were real. I mean, look, for God's sake, there's murders every week. Talk about that, not about celebrations and all this rubbish. We donate this and that. Policemen don't donate anything. You solve crimes. Ask people for information. That's what you should be doing on the show.
All right, sir. Super, you like to respond?
I appreciate what he's saying, and I think if you look at the show from the beginning, I manage everything maritime-wise.
Yes.
And I want the caller, anybody else, to look at what has happened maritime-wise in terms of the control of the maritime domain. This is my job. I am not in the criminal investigation department or the traffic department, because if I go wrong, I am sure I will get a ticket from the traffic department. But I manage the maritime domain. And what we have done, I also have some stats to share with you on that in terms of cruise ship arrival and the performance of the Marine Unit over the past September to May of this year cruise ship season. But caller, I appreciate what you said. I understand how you feel, but I manage the maritime domain in terms of what happened out at sea and the maritime sector in St. Lucia.
Okay, caller. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he is a first-time viewer of the show, Collins. The police and like the super said, we don't understand how he feels. We're not here to bash anybody. That's what the show was made for. But caller, if you're listening, still listening, the police, we have different departments. We have different jobs. And not every time we could have a show on crime or asking individuals for. We do have those type of shows, sir, but we have to be dynamic and discuss it.
And also, Sarge, if he have any information, if you know anybody that has any information, 555.
555.
Your name will not be asked. You will remain anonymous. Whatever information you give will be looked into, and then hopefully it should assist.
Excellent.
555.
555 for anonymous calling to report any crime. We're going to take our very last break. Stay tuned to Police Inside.
Massey Stores Gourmet is now online. Shop and pay for all your favorite gourmet products, then collect curbside or have them delivered straight to your door. Enjoy digital coupons and other special offers that are only available online. Simply head to Massey Stores online supermarket at www.shopmasseystoresSLU.com and select gourmet to shop. Try it today for simple, convenient, and safe shopping. Massey Stores Gourmet, now online.
Here's your first task. Let's see how you do. I need you to renew the registration on these vehicles. Here are the documents and the company credit card. Now, I know the lines are long, but I expect you back here before 12.
Yes, sir, no problem. There's a new and easier way to do things now. Everything I need is right here with DigiGolf.
All your vehicle-related services are right at your fingertips from anywhere with DigiGolf. From vehicle registration to application and renewal of route permits and more. With DigiGolf, you have convenient access to vehicle services using a desktop, computer, a laptop, or other mobile device. We're making it easier online and getting you off the line. Register with DigiGolf today.
Here you go, sir. Vehicle registration renewed. All you have to do is pick up the stickers.
How?
Welcome to the DigiGolf era.
If you need help accessing DigiGolf, visit one of our Service Bureau offices below. DigiGolf, serving people and businesses with that island love.
Land loan has been approved.
Really?
Yes, sir. Congratulations.
I guess he got his land loan approved. No deposit, 3.5% interest, and 20 years to repay. Not a bad deal at all. I wish more young people would have that feeling.
If you are between 21 and 35 years, this is the perfect time to own a piece of St. Lucia with a small share purchase and 20 years to repay. Monrepo Eastern Cooperative Credit Union. Call us today. Telephone 455-3370.
Welcome back to Police Insight. We have like probably less than 10 minutes left. Commander, you have some stats that you wanted to share with us?
Absolutely, and I think it's important that when we do good things that we share it with the nation.
Yes.
And when we do bad things, we deserve the criticism likewise.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But our stakeholders in St. Lucia, they've been doing excellently well in terms of our criticism, because I don't want to be in the office of the commander and nobody gets to me and say, look, last week your guys were doing X, Y, and Z, and I cannot call them and say, okay, look, this is taxpayers' money. What is happening? Because the normal search and rescue that persons will not understand is never below $5,000 from the public funds.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have to get foreign assistance, then the budget goes up. So in terms of our performance, some persons of the view that a cruise ship come to Port Castries and it's just on its own. That's not so. As the designated ISPS authority in St. Lucia, I have a responsibility to protect every cruise ship that pull into St. Lucia. While this is happening, I also have the responsibility to ensure that government buildings and the ministers of government who run the affairs of this country, they are safe at government buildings in terms of the maritime approach to that.
Interesting.
There are other police departments who are doing the job in terms of the security in the building. The traffic is doing the other thing, SSU. But if you notice the waterfront, it's ours to control. So there's a lot of things happening, but let me just give you. So from last year's cruise ship season, that is from September, October into May of this year, we had an estimated cruise ship arrival, roughly about 362 cruise ships pulling into St. Lucia. Visitors, 618,800, thereabout. Patrols. The Marine Police Unit conducted 1,450 patrols. That is a guaranteed 2 hours of patrol to additional to the normal patrols. We guarantee to conduct 2 hours of patrol within Port Castries to ensure that this big bird sitting alongside Point Serafin is safe. So, the total number of hours pulled in here, 8,688 hours. The financial implications, of course, the Ministry of Finance would know that, because we have to buy more fuel, we have to buy more parts to service these engines as you use them more. The results for all of that cannot be compared with the money that was spent because the results are greater. So for all those persons who visited Port Castries, and that's just cruise ship arrivals last year, incidents in Port Castries, 0.
Excellent.
Incidents in Soufrière, 0. Incidents at Anne-Chassenay and Scotia, those areas, heavily populated touristic area, 0. We only had 2 incidents where one individual lost their life, and the other one, I think there was some damage to a yacht by a jet ski. Excuse me. Other than those 2 incidents, we would have had a clean slate of performance. Now, had it not been for our policies that we insist this is what happened, because when a ship comes to Port Castries, as long as you control the maritime domain, you have it under control.
Nice.
And this is what we will continue to do. You want to be a water taxi, this is how you have to go about it. You want to be in sailing, this is how you go about it. Because the state is paying a group of men and women within the Marine unit. This is our responsibility. This is our job. We are not being paid to sit in khaki or in blues. You understand? This is what we do. So we are expecting, and I'm not speaking on a political or tourism side, based on those projections, we are expecting September this year, in fact, the new cruise ship season coming in, to be probably double.
I see.
Which means we have to increase the number of patrols we do in those areas. However, I am pleased to report that SLASPER, the Marine Unit, and other entities met with the jet ski associations, the operators, immediately after those accidents. And St. Lucia will basically be implementing the jet ski policy and other craft policy prior to the beginning of the cruise ship season to ensure that we do not have a repeat of those 2 accidents. We want a clean slate next year. And I insist that we will do what we have to do.
That's right.
Because it is our responsibility as the maritime law enforcers.
So we're almost out of time. In probably 1 minute before you give your closing remarks, can you give some advice to our fisher folks when venturing out at sea?
Definitely, when venturing out at sea, take heed to the weather report. If there is a small craft advisory, don't go out to sea. Also, if you are on the beach bathing, you notice things are changing, the tides are getting. One of the simplest way to avoid yourself being dragged into the sea by the current, you stand in the water, probably waist height, and you notice the sand, or you can feel the sand is being washed away between your toes. It's time to get out.
Okay.
The current can change in an instant. Ocean currents are unpredictable. If you notice there's a gust of wind, probably before you go into the water, take a dry leaf or something. You drop it, you notice it's moving away from a rapid space, don't go into the water. The few drownings we had this year, we can do better next year.
I see.
Right, so if we do those little things, and I'm hoping time permitting, maybe next month, thereabout, July is almost over, we can have a show in terms of maritime safety.
Yes.
Not just the swimming, but you look at persons on the vessels, you look at persons doing different activities where the water is concerned.
Final comment, sir?
We are always grateful to God first for giving us the ability to perform. We are always thankful to the taxpayers of St. Lucia and those partner nations, the United States, the United Kingdom, the RSS partner nations, and other persons who contribute towards our well-being. The citizens of St. Lucia, who generally, I say citizens of St. Lucia generally well-behaved. Without the cooperation, we would not have gotten that level of success that we got over the last year. And for the men and women in blue of the Marine Unit, I cannot ask for more than that I have. I know the commissioner would say that I did not see the rest of the RSLPF, but then commissioner and the AO, the administrative officer and her team, these are a remarkable group of people who understand the finances and all of that. The Ministry of Virginia Albert, Minister, and her PSDPS, they understand the needs of the Marine Unit. And the Prime Minister, of course, the Minister of Finance. Yes. So looking at it in general, we are grateful for the opportunity to be given the opportunity to secure St. Lucia as much as we can within the maritime domain. And we are hoping to do so and implement certain measures for the security and safety of citizens and visitors alike. Thank you very much, and also for the show.
Super, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence.
Thank you.
Okay, so folks, those of you who call in, thank you so much for your comments. Those who posted on the chat, etc. If it's a Thursday night, it's Police Insight. We continue to encourage people to use our 555 crime hotline, 555, to give any information or to report a crime. Okay, folks? So until next Thursday, stay safe. Good night.